Manager Kellyanne Conway joins us now from Trump Tower in New York. Good morning, Kellyanne. I want to start with a piece that Defense Secretary Robert Gates, former Defense Secretary, wrote in the Wall Street Journal. He was critical of both candidates, but particularly critical of Mr. Trump. And I want to play Mr. Trump's reaction to it last night and get your reaction.
We had a clown today, an absolute clown, Robert Gates. He's supposed to be an expert. He's been there forever. So he goes out and he says negative things about me. I never met him. I never talked to him. Believe me, I am so much better at what he's doing than he is.
So Robert Gates served 8 presidents, most of them Republicans, 1 Democrat. A clown?
So Mr. Gates, Secretary Gates really should have, I think, in his book, been a little bit more forceful about the fact that radical Islam has ideological moorings. He acts like terrorism is something like the weather, it just happens. And we as Americans know that's not true. I think that's part of why Mr. Trump is doing very well on the issue of who would manage radical Islamic terrorism. And he's actually willing to call the enemy what it is, John. Hillary Clinton, in her convention speech, referred to the radical Islamic terrorists as our, quote, determined enemies. So there's a great deal of frustration by many Americans that we just don't have serious leaders all of the time addressing terrorism for what it is.
But one of the critiques that Secretary Gates, who's seen and worked with a few presidents, made was that Donald Trump is thin-skinned. He doesn't have the temperament for the office. Wasn't he, in his response to Mr. Gates, proving Mr. Gates' point?
No, not at all. He was defending himself, and Mr. Trump has the right to do that. He's attacked by people who have never met him, who haven't given a thoughtful look to his plans, which, of course, are out there for everyone to see. He's on the stump every single day delivering policy speeches, addressing crowds, rallies. I mean, Bernie Sanders had an event yesterday in Ohio for Hillary Clinton. There were 150 people there. That's like a second wedding where I come from. This is not a big movement for Hillary Clinton. And he has it. Mr. Trump has a right to defend himself from people who I don't think are looking at the substance of his plans. They're just judging someone they've never met.
I'd like to move on to a position that Mr. Trump held for 5 years, that Barack Obama was not born in the United States. He changed that position on Friday. Why?
No, on Friday, he made very clear 3 things. Number one, that it was Mark Penn, Hillary Clinton's chief strategist and pollster, who put President Obama's citizenship in question when he wrote a famous memo in March of 2007 questioning his, quote, American roots, saying at a time of war, how could we elect someone like this? That's pretty radical stuff. And then, of course, even Patty Solis Doyle, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager in 2008, John, until she was fired by Hillary Clinton, admitted on Friday to Wolf Blitzer that she said, yeah, those were her words, there was a volunteer in Iowa who was pushing this. And so this started with Hillary Clinton's campaign, number one. Number two, it was Donald Trump who put the issue to rest when he got President Obama to release his birth certificate years later. And number three, he said that President Obama was born in this country, period, and let's move on to creating jobs, defeating radical Islam, rebuilding our inner cities. And that's what he said.
The reason I want to stick on this a little bit is he promoted this for 5 years. So this wasn't just some passing notion. This was a considerable amount of energy and time and money that he spent promoting this idea. The Clinton, Mark Penn didn't say anything about his citizenship. Also, if you look at the Clinton campaign, they fired the one staffer who sent an email about this immediately. Donald Trump spent 5 years, his own money, called press conferences to promote this idea. So I go back to my original question, why did he change his mind and when did he do it?
Well, Donald Trump was not running for president in a bruising, vicious primary in 2008 against Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton was. And you know that the former D.C. bureau chief of McClatchy newspaper, a respected journalist, just on Friday, John, said that he was approached. He had a meeting with Sid Blumenthal, who's a very close confidant of both Clintons and then was on the payroll of the Clinton Foundation thereafter. He had a meeting with him where Sid Blumenthal allegedly told him that President Obama was not born in this country and to go check it out. So, I mean, the idea that people around Hillary Clinton were not responsible for this, Donald Trump in 2007 and 2008, while the Clinton folks were pushing this theory, he was a successful businessman. He was building things.
But Kellyanne, he's asked us He's asked us to go back and look at things that he said about foreign policy back in 2003 to draw conclusions about his judgment. So things he said in the private sector, something he spent 5 years promoting. You said he got the birth certificate released and that put an end to it, but it didn't put an end to it for him. For years after the birth certificate was released, he continued to question it, continued to question whether Barack Obama was born in the United States and whether the birth certificate was a fraud. So when the campaign puts out a statement and said he ended it in 2011, and you've asserted that today, that's just not the truth, is it?
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that it was President Obama released his birth certificate in 2011. Nobody confuses Hillary Clinton with Mariana Rivera. She's not a good closer, and she wasn't on this issue at all. The associates of Hillary Clinton started pushing the issue because Barack Obama came out of nowhere to them. They never expected him to rise in the polls, let alone beat her in her Democratic primary, where a vast majority of the voters, by the way, were female and rejected her in that year, just like they didn't see Bernie Sanders coming, and just like they didn't see our comeback of the Trump campaign coming.
Let me ask you, Kellyanne.
She's not known to be a closer. She's not known to be good at recapturing momentum, and that proved it.
So I understand you wanted to talk about Hillary Clinton, and this is an election about a choice. That's important. But it's also about whether people can trust the candidate who may become president one day and who may send people to die in a war. And so just on this question of trust, Donald Trump advocated something for 5 years that was a lie. Why did he do that?
Well, you're going to have to ask him, but I think that this is a sideshow now, that the media seem obsessed with John, respectfully. And again, he put everything out on the table on Friday. Those are his words. He does things on his terms, on his timeline, and he very crisply got to the microphone after honoring 14 gold medal recipients, and also after showing all these veterans that support us, our campaign. We're very proud to stand with them in Washington, D.C. And he said the three things that you and I just repeated. But again, you know what this campaign also did this week that nobody seems to want to talk about? We tightened in the polls. We have a child care plan, economic plan. I mean, he was standing yesterday with parents of victims of illegal alien crimes who have murdered their children. You know, there are so many things going on in our campaign, and that's his entire point. He's moved on to the things that matter to America. I
understand, but he did spend 5 years on it, so it would be something. We would be remiss if we didn't pay some attention to something that he spent so many years advocating and promoting. Kellyanne, Conway, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll be back in 1 minute.